Oops. Down again, up again, down again. There we are. All right, never mind. Let's go ahead and get started. This, somehow I managed to get through to the schedulers, and they gave us one group that is focused on computer science and security, which I think is magnificent because it allows us to divert a little bit from the mainstream and look a little bit forward to what you're doing next semester with ethical hacking. All right. And there's kind of a little special space. I think it's probably could be developed a little bit more, all right? But it's essentially there. A little space on the MyTinyNet site that is devoted to setting up a victim network, all right? Because just like a lot of other things, all right, when we just install Kali Linux as a VM, you know, it's nice, but what do we do with it? What? Now, there are a lot of people who have contributed to the community with virtual machines with well-documented vulnerabilities that we can use to practice our red team, blue team skills, all right? And that's the environment that you get into in ethical hacking, all right? And the TinyNet configuration that we call NetR, a rogue network, because it automatically generates meaningless traffic, which is a system administrator's nightmare. Normally, when this happens, it's a malfunctioning network interface card or a poor configuration or something like that. But it's just like the vulnerable virtual machines, it is an artificial environment that mirrors real events in the real world. And so the idea behind NetR is that you have a network that is ready to be attacked, right? And it's a private network, it's a personal network. You own it, you configure it. One of the terrible things about red team, blue team exercises is that blue team guys spend all this time setting up their system and trying to make it secure. And red team guys come in to try to destroy all of that hard effort, all right? So it means you're changing hats. On one side, you're trying to set up your system and make it secure. And then you put on your red team hat and you say, all right, now I'm going to destroy all of my hard work. It is WAF-Net, part of the job, part of the environment. It's something that we just have to embrace. The other thing that we need to really understand about this red team, blue team thing is that a fundamental motivation for hackers is curiosity, right? How do I make this work? What can I do to cover my tracks? What can I do to avoid detection? What can I do to raise some hell with these guys and show them, phone, I gotcha. I'm the leader. I'm the best. It's pride and it's curiosity. And, I think pride is one of the things, one serious motivation. Let me see if I'm spelling that right. That separates the hackers from the script kiddies. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to say this is something that you need to understand. It's something you need to understand when you are using this tool called Metasploit. All right? You have to understand that Metasploit is there because people contributed their investment in satisfying their curiosity. How do I raise some hell in this one? How do I make this go wrong? How do I destroy the hard work of this programmer? All right. And it's a mindset. It's an attitude. And Metasploit exists because people contributed their creativity to making this collection of exploits. All right? Let's just say it explicitly. Meta. Metasploit is a collection of creative answers to the question, how do I destroy somebody's hard work? And it's just, it's fundamental to the attitude of the red team, blue team exercises. All right? So if you go into ethical hacking ready to adopt this mindset, then you'll begin to understand, all right? Script kiddies term came about this whole name comes from the idea that you're not contributing to the community. You're just taking advantage of something that someone else has created. And the real point, first point we've got to understand here is that's good for getting started. You have to start somewhere, and you start working with examples. You start working with what other people have done. The real point is, don't get stuck in that space, right? You get stuck in that space, you're at a dead end in your professional development. You have to be able to build on that, move along. What? So, ethical hacking is an introduction. It's not an end. Enough of the philosophy. Let's move on to the practice. But again, ouch, man, I'll say it one more time. I'll never get tired of stopping to say it. Theory guides our practice. Mindset shows us what we think we can do and what we think the possibilities are. All right. So let's start a little bit with, I got a little bit of PowerPoint. There's a few PowerPoints down at the end of this one called 1112 that talk about the special configuration of the TinyNet that we can use to make a network that we can safely attack. Nobody's going to complain about it. You do this at APU, you start trying to play with their production network, they can come down on you like the proverbial ton of bricks. All right? You don't want to do that. There's laws against that. All right? And there have been since, wow, way back in the 1990s like that. People have been, even honest systems administrators have been caught up in this thing where they're trying to help somebody else out. They do it the wrong way and literally end up with a criminal record. Right? So having a safe network that you own, that you can attach your virtual machines to, that's what NetR is about. Let me shift this over a little bit. Let's go to the MyTinyNet site first. Let's start there. All right. Now, down the menu down here with extensions, all right, GCC and Make, X Windows is part of an extension that hasn't been finished yet. It's just there because it's there. But this one, oh, hey, wait a minute. Breaking Bad. This is the link that takes you to the ethical hacking site. All right. A little bit undeveloped, but there's a big disclaimer here about red team, blue team. And one of the things you keep in mind when you're doing this is you want to keep this one isolated. All right. Now, there's a few links down here. I think other resources here. This is something you might want to investigate. It's a little bit about goals and skills. Just what I was saying before. I'm not going to go into this right now. All right. But the idea that it's about curiosity and it's about understanding operating systems at a deep level. It's about understanding application programming at a deep level. And that's one of the things that Metasploit can teach us. It's very valuable that way because as a collection of creative things, that other people have done, it provides us a kind of body of knowledge of things that have been done, right? And should give us ideas about how we could adapt that, carry it one step farther, expand it, enhance it, get ideas about what we can do to make it better, more efficient, more dangerous, right? The vulnerable VMs one, I just do want to just take a look at these two links just real quickly. That one and the exploit database. All right. This one, vulnerable VMs, has some outstanding examples, and they look a little bit old, but they're not that bad. This site, VulnHub, is a kind of space where everybody contributes everything from their latest capture the flag exercises, all right? But it seems like it's been a little while. Last time I looked at it, there was not much beyond the standard CTF stuff. But these particular ones here, all right, have really good documentation about exploits. And these are ones that, since they're so well documented, they're really nice for digging deeper and understanding the technicalities that people need to understand in order to do these things, right? So these are ones that actually you can get these and very easily put them onto your NetR network, right? And use them as attack targets, right? You're going to have enough memory to run 2 Ubuntu virtual machines, which means that you're going to need more than 8 gigabytes RAM. But again, you're moving into that space. And so just a casual, I suppose, warning about the hardware requirements that you are going to run up against if you start getting serious about red team, blue team exercises. The exploit database, oh, it's an amazing collection of what might be possible with various platforms, all right, in terms of the latest hacks, all right, updated as of what, yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that. This one keeps you 44,000 entries and growing day by day, all right? And so this is a hugely important resource that it's worth spending a little bit of time investigating, all right? Again, for ideas about going beyond what is in Metasploit. Metasploit is nowhere near up to date as of yesterday, all right? It's just one of those problems with the release process. And this link takes you to the latest and the greatest. And just like putting those citations in your paper, all right, give credit where credit is due. So again, you want to search for verified, you want to search for HasApp, narrow down your search. I'm just pointing this out that it's there, and you want to get out of script kiddie space, this is an incredible starting point. It's an incredible resource from the community. All right, but where we're at here with the enhancement on the assignment is complete the NetR basic setup, DOM serve and 2 NetR hosts. All right. And the thing about NetR hosts is they automatically generate traffic, all right, between themselves. All right. So if we go here to basic setup, all right, set up a 2-clone server, start it up, do some essential manual configuration. We've covered that. We've got that all done. All right. Get the config ISO, use VirtualBox to clone it twice. Pick one clone and use the set role shell script to make it choose the role of NetR DOM serve. All right. And then, according to the assignment, you do this twice more and set those up as a regular NetR host. All right. And it will do that for you. There's a little bit of automated script twizzling to do that for you. All right. But the essential process is very straightforward. And this is the real point, all right, is that NetR hosts, as soon as they get on the network, they start sending silly messages to each other. They send each other their IP address with Figlet and a fortune and, you know, nothing really, but the scripts to do the automatic message generation are there. And that's what makes it special, because even in this basic configuration, it means that you can trap those messages, you can divert them to another server, you can prevent them from getting in, you can do a man-in-the-middle thing and modify them as they come through. It is up to your imagination and your skills, all right? Your goals and your skills to practice your creativity when it comes to this. But it is a private network. Nobody's going to argue if you want to destroy your own hard work getting it set up, right? And it's an easy one to add in other kinds of virtual machines and have them on your private network so you can get some practice. All right. So the NetR basic setup, let's just run through it real quick. Well, before we do that, let's just take a quick look at what's here in the PowerPoint. All right. This is that 1112 SNA that we looked at actually this morning. All right. It's got a lot of miscellaneous points here. Vulnerability assessment, security policy. We'll talk about this next week, Thursday. This is the one with the NFS and such in it. All right. But down here toward the bottom, a little bit about NetR here. So the idea is the TinyNet looks like a standard corporate network. We can put our LDAP server, we can put our mail server here, we can put our web server here, right? We can get it all set up to make it all very easy to attack, all right? And this is the whole basic idea, right? The straightforward NetR hosts are dedicated to just doing nothing except being a rogue network, generating meaningless traffic. As I say, a system administrator's nightmare, right? But there are various ways to set it up. Now, the thing we want to just understand here, theory into practice, is that one of the special features of the NetR network is that it has a user that is automatically logged in, auto, as in automatic, logs in on TTY8. So if you do Alt F8 on a NetR host, you can see these automatically generated messages. Every host that joins the network adds to this messaging frenzy, all right, making this a very busy subnet, all right, and that's the explanation that is already on the website. But just one caution, all right, don't go crazy with this, because VirtualBox has its limits and Windows has its limits. And there were a lot of virtual machines that just got scrapped in the process of setting this up because they overwhelmed the underlying network system. It's just a limitation of our artificial environment, right? Now, again, I just want to say this one more time, all right? Don't take measures to ensure, be a blue team person and make sure that this doesn't escape from its contained environment, all right? Because then you really are going to be interfering with other people's hard work. And that's just uncivilized. That's just being bad person in the community. So that being said, let's put this on the sidelines for a minute here, all right? Now, I have my 2-clone machine set up here. Let me just up the scale factor here. Maybe let's go 150% on this one for now. All right, so this is my standard 2-clone machine. All right, comes up with a generic prompt, myTimeVM. Now, the first thing I have to do, all right, and let me just get back over here to the chat. Let me just make a specific note of this in the chat, all right? Before you take on 11 or 12, all right? Be sure to update with the patch.iso, all right, because that has some useful things. And I know it's late, and I hate to do this that late in the process, but the useful things that are there are important. So I'm going to ls edf first thing, and oops, ILS minus L. There we are. Now, so now that didn't work either. All right, so never mind. Let's scrap that and Look there, and then ls. Okay. So that's got the setrole.sh. That means it is the config CD. All right. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to eject that one and put in the patch ISO. Simple enough. All right. And you can find this on the Dynet Home orientation, changing CDs. All right. CD-ROM devices, I could have started there. I should have started there indeed. And that's it. The instructions have gotten very short. So if we come up here to the devices and say optical drives and, ouch, man, I've got a conf ISO in here. So I'm going to scratch that and eject that one. Oh, failed. CD ... move back a little bit. All right. CD space ... Thank you so much. Now I'm in media. Now I can eject that one. I can't eject it when I'm there already, but I can eject it now. Devices, nothing checked here. I'm going to put the patch ISO into the drive. When I did eject it, did and kicked that one out. All right. Now that I have the patch ISO in the drive, all I have to do is say mount, make it available to the operating system, media CD-ROM. Then I can CD up the arrow a few times. I'm so lazy when it comes to typing because I always make mistakes. LS, I can do that one. And there's my fix config. So now I just say /fix config .sh. There we are, upgrading my files. Perfect. Let's do that over again. CD space ... and eject. Get the config ISO back in space where it belongs. MyTyConf. Don't worry about the experimental ones. And mount. Why didn't I just use up arrow? I hate typing. All right. Now that I've upgraded that, I've got it back to a stable space with the CD-ROM, the config ISO mounted. All I need to do is power off. All right. I need to power off because now that I have it updated, I need to clone it 3 times. All right, so we'll get back over here and machine and clone. Where did it go? There you are. All right. So the first one I'm going to do is net r domserv. The net r domserv, well, a domain server, all right, to distinguish it from the gateway. The domserv runs our domserv runs DNS mask for DHCP and DNS. All right. Others are just hosts on net R to generate useless traffic. Right. So let me just clone this one off as my netar downserve. Generate new MAC addresses for all network adapters. That's the only important thing to remember when we're cloning. All right. And back up here and machine and clone. And I want to call this one host 1. You can do a host 2 as well. Well, I'm not going to do that. We'll just save a little time here. We're just trying to show you how this works. And full clone, and we're good. All right. Start up the downserve. And start up my other guy. As soon as I see a little bit of action here, you know what? Running all of this team stuff, virtual machines and screen sharing, slows things down here a little bit and heats up the processor. You know what? I've got this still on 150%. I'm going to cut this down a little bit to 125, I think is enough. Wait a minute. VirtualBox, where'd you go? There you are. All right, I'll start my host 1 at the same time. Since they're not configured yet, there's no dependencies. Let's just give this a second to roll up here. There we are. And do the same thing again. Just adjust my viewport. When VirtualBox starts to settle down, there we go. Scale this back to 125. There we go. All right, so while that one's booting up, I can do this. I log in as root and TOOR. I'm going to do this the quick way. CD, media, CD-ROM, and dot stroke set role dot sh. You've done this before. All right, but this time, this is my netar downserve. All right, so I'm going to configure it that way. It's going to install DNSMask with some extra configurations that are appropriate for this special setup. Press enter to reboot. Okay, all good. No further fiddling is required. Same thing here. But, oops, wait a minute. Huh. Sloppy typing. There we go. How's that for better? This one, you need to do 2 of these. I'm only doing 1. netar generic. All right. Unique simple host name. netar1. Yeah, that's simple enough and unique enough. Okay. And enter to reboot. Ah. So, comes up with that cool red logo. All right. Again, it does it's on the subnet 234. All right. Net mask is expressed a little bit differently than we see on the TinyNet one. But again, we want some small differences here so we know where we're at. All right. Now, DOMServe is running my DNS and DHCP. So I'm going to let this one come up. All right. So 234.217, right? ETH0, that's my NetR1. Now, here's the fun part. All right. This doesn't come up with all of the useful guidance on like the TinyNet ones do, but Alt F8 to get to the auto screen. All right. So I'm going to just back over here. Where's my NetR host? There we are. All right. So I'm not going to log in as root. I'm just going to do Alt F8. And we can see that we've got a connection re-sleeve. Be careful when eating bananas. Monsters might step on the peels. Every 20 seconds or so, all right, it sends a message with the name and a fortune and the IP address, all right, of the source of that message. Same thing over here. If I come over to my DOMServe and just do Alt F8, all right, I can see the message coming in from NetR1 on 217. And again, every 20 seconds or so, it will update itself. And that's why you don't want to have too many of these running at the same time, because it is traffic, even though it is useless. And that's why it is a system administrator's nightmare. All right? But you should be able to manage 2 of these NetR hosts. And when you have a second one, you're going to see NetR1, NetR2 showing up on the DOMServe, and DOMServe and whichever one it's not showing up on each of your other hosts. So that's what NetR does all by itself. And again, if you want to fool around with capturing and diverting network traffic, this is a great place to start, because these TCP connections here, all right, they're run by a set of scripts. It's a little bit complicated, all right, but this one reviews the named pipes concept here, all right? And you need to just investigate each one of these scripts and you can see how they fit together. We don't have time to do that properly today, all right? But I'm going to leave that to you, to your curiosity, all right? And we'll just take a quick look at the send message script here. Right? There's a script that loops forever to send messages. And there are a couple of other listeners set up using the Netcat and named pipes technique. Very similar to the one that we looked at with Nocti last week. But we're running out of time today, so we'll just do a quick minimum check here. And I'll point you in the right direction, and we can pick this up again next week. All right? The enhancement says, set up syslog on the DOM serve to listen for log messages with facility LPR and priority notice and save them to a particular file. We looked at that this morning. All right, this is just looking in etc syslog on the DOM serve. All right, Alt F1 to get back. Wait a minute, one. No, to get back to normal space. Right? Well, the DOM serve, I'm going to Alt F1. All right, log in with root TOOR as we normally do, and MC. All right. Now, I'm going to go in here. On one side, I've got ETC, tab over, come up, and do a look in var netar. Var netar as the scripts, okay, that the relationships are shown graphically here. All right. These are the scripts in var netar. The only one we want to look at is this one called send message. All right. And let's just do it this way. All right. What this does is, as you can see, all right, it does a figlet with the font and puts it in boxes with the design and pipes it into Netcat, all right, so that it sends the message out to a particular one. String 3 is the target that is supplied by the calling script. All right. And so each time it does this, pipes something into NetNC, Netcat, it is creating a new TCP connection. All right. And the sleep is the one that's important, okay, because again, it's quite possible to overwhelm the capabilities of VirtualBox to deliver these messages. So somehow you need to modify this script on the netar hosts to send log messages to the DOM serve. Right? Only on the DOM serve, what we need to do is set up syslog to listen for log messages with facility LPR and priority notice. So we're on the DOM serve here. We're in an irrelevant space on the DOM serve. DOM serve, our relevant space is etc and syslog.com. Be sure to do this after updating with the patch. All right. So I'm just going to F3 here. We're just going to, oops, not F3, is it? That's F3. All right. So we got facility, LPR, priority alert. All right. And we can go down here to the bottom. All right. Local2 info dnsmask.log. Down here at the bottom, we can add in a facility LPR dot notice, all right, LPR dot notice, and create a file name for it, -var log, whatever the file name is we want to save it in. Then I've left this one running on auto space. All right. Then we're going to need to crack into the scripts. All right. So once we get that done, then we need to crack into this script and figure out how to, now that DOM server is listening, all right, send log messages to the DOM serve. Actually, one of the reasons we wanted to do this after we did the patch ISO is because it gives us a very simple way to do this. And that simple way to do this is what? Come back up here and get into user, local, bin, and man to H2, message to syslog. We got it. We don't need to go to a lot of effort on this one now. Now that we use the patch ISO, what? All we need to do is find a proper place to call this script with facility LPR and priority. Which priority do we have? Priority what? Notice. Yeah, take notice. Okay. And we're ready to go. All right. So rather than calling netcat, we can take out one of these netcat things from there. We can take this whole thing out if we want to, right? It's not important. They're just meaningless messages, right? In that send message script. And replace this, oh, end of the world, 3 p.m. this Friday. Ooh, is that tomorrow? With symposium to follow. I guess that's why they declared it a holiday. All right, so substitute it, add it in. It's up to you, all right? But the one thing I do want to say is we really want to modify this last line. I mentioned that one this morning. All right, I'm just gonna F10 out of here. And I'm gonna stay right here and use the local bin. All right. Tail etc syslog.conf. Just need a proper target. All right. Let's say tail -20. Right. So I've got local6.info. Oh, right. auth.info. There we go. Or authpriv.info. Right. Let's do auth.info. Right. So ls. And so I can say dot stroke msg to syslog auth info. This is my message. All right. Hey, what happened here? MSG2 syslog. And how did I spell it? How did I spell it wrong? MSG2 syslog. Is it local bin? The comma. Where's the comma? Oh, I know what happened. Yeah, I have a problem with this keyboard. That's a dot and I hit a comma. I do that a lot. There we are. There we go. And now I can tell. Ooh, what was that last one? Thank you so much for correcting my typing for me. What should I be looking for? Var log authinfo.log tail var log authinfo. Yeah, there's my message. But look what happens here. It says /message to syslog and it puts in the process number. All right, that's no way to cover our tracks. No points there for covering our tracks, man. So what we need to do is let me do this. All right, now that I got that done, I'm just going to say MC edit. Right, we need to come down here and you've got to have this part in pointy brackets, FP. All right, but just delete this 0 and that square brackets part and just leave it like that. And F2 to save, and F10 to exit, F10 to exit. Oops, there we go. And now let's try this again. My anonymous message. There we go. And tail that back. All right. I think that one makes a lot more sense. We can't control the first part there. It's always going to have the timestamp and the source host, but a much better message. Oh my goodness, we are out of time here. We've got to get a QR code going. Otherwise, it's going to kick us off. Sorry about that, but this is one of those things that once you get started, it can be a lot of fun. All right. There we go. That's what we need. And this counts as a lab. And let's proceed real quick and mark and continue. All right. Is it working? Why not?
So class not found.
Yeah. Why is class not found? Because we are 1 minute late. All right. Never mind. Free pass on this one today. I will update. Yeah, I think we can't extend the time. Yep, class time was exceeded by 1 minute, now 2 minutes. All right. So never mind. I will update that one. My bad. So we'll let it pass.